I think I should have just come dressed as Kenzie. It is so good to be with you all. It's been a couple of weeks, actually, since I've been able to share in this way with you. Last week, I was out for my birthday, and so thank you to all who sent messages. It was a really nice time away, and I got to listen from away Reverend Pam's beautiful message and all the laughter that she elicited from all of you. So, of course, now there's a lot of, nervousness from me about sharing jokes. And because it's been a couple of weeks, I have a few of them for you. But hold on, because I'm getting into the spirit of these things and the trick. They will laugh. I will be funny. I've actually used the first one before. Knock, knock. Boo. Boo. Don't cry, I've got some Halloween jokes for you. Same response last year. Why did the ghosts go into the bar? For the booze. You're not supposed to get that one yet. Okay, how about this one? Why didn't the skeleton dance at the party? Because he had no body to dance with. And I'd probably tell another skeleton joke, but you probably wouldn't find it very humorous. Okay. Worth the wait, I'm sure, worth the wait. But we are celebrating Halloween. It is amazing, actually, to just look over here and see so many kids dressed up and just enjoying themselves and being a part of today's service. Because I really think it's a service that all of us can really not only participate with, but I think it's a theme that I think we all sometimes have some challenges with and maybe struggle a little bit with. And it's an opportunity for us to recognize that the answer to those challenges and troubles are already within us. I've been thinking, and I'm sure you've thought about it and you've heard it before, but Halloween is such a special, special day. It's the only one day a year where we adults give ourselves permission to put on masks, right? It's the one day a year where we allow ourselves to seek that instant gratification, just one day a year of instant gratification that we look for in candy and whatever we call candy, right? Right? It's the one day a year? Right? It's part of the human condition. It's part of our human experience that we seek that instant gratification quite a bit. And when we receive that instant gratification, we call ourselves happy. We step into some joy, right? But the instant gratification goes away, and what remains? Many a times, we actually also wear masks to hide things that we may not be comfortable with ourselves from other people. But the reality is that many, many times, who we're really trying to hide from is ourselves. Because there's something within us that doesn't fully believe that we are worthy of who we truly are and of showing up in all of our essence and all of our power and allowing that to be what expresses into our lives and creates the life that we have been dreaming of. So today we have an excuse to do those things, but maybe in other days of our lives, we can take the mask off and we can remember that behind the mask lies someone who is beautiful, created in the image and the likeness of the Creator, coming to this world not only to experience life and experience our own divinity, but being able to witness other people in their divinity. But we've really gotten so used to wearing the mask and the costumes that we've forgotten what our true essence is. And it becomes pretty easy sometimes, right, to pick up the mask. It becomes easier sometimes to put on the costume rather than be vulnerable enough to experience our truth and experience our oneness with God. And so today, we're going to talk about stepping into our truth and who we really are, and that which is within us, a part of that is divine joy, ultimate joy. And it's already a part of who we are. It's part of our divine identity, and we've just been hiding it from ourselves, right? Or pretending that there are other things outside of us that can remind us of that joy, rather than recognizing that all it takes is a breath, becoming mindful and aware of who we are, what we are, our oneness with God. And wow, what joy can we experience in those moments of clarity? And what joy we can experience even in the thinking about the joy that we can experience in God and in life. Just even speaking about joy this week and this morning brought me a lot of joy, right? Like, the idea of joy is so contagious that you're probably also maybe feeling some of the joy of this morning as you see the joy in the kids, right? Or you experience the joy in each other as we are able to witness the joy in each other. Mary Caparfali says, joy belongs to you. Whether you know it or not, it is yours now to discover, to use, to exercise, to bring into expression. Joy already belongs to us. It has already been provided, and all we need to do is really step into it. Joy is one of our gifts that we have gotten from God, and it is not dependent on what occurred 10 years ago, 2 months ago, yesterday, last night. Pure joy is already within us. And so I invite you to just check in with yourself in this very moment. What comes up for you when I say that today you will experience great joy? Today, you will all experience great joy. What gets stirred up within you? Join me now in affirming, today I choose joy. Today, I choose joy. One more time. Today, I choose joy. How many of you felt the stirring already, right? And if you have experienced joy in that way, there's sometimes something that sort of just creeps up and shows up, right? Like, it's kind of like on the sidelines waiting to haunt us a little bit. And that's this very small word that makes a big difference in our experiences. But today, I choose joy, but there's an issue at work. There's an issue at school. Today, I choose joy, but I haven't found the one yet. Today, I choose joy, but I thought I found the one, and they were clearly not the one. Today, I choose joy, but in the world, there is war and conflict. Today, I choose joy, but within me, there is war and conflict. What if it's, and some of you already catch this from me, not the but, and, right? Today, I choose joy, and there are things coming up. Today I choose joy, and there may be challenges. Actually, one of the things that I was thinking about as Kenzie and the choir were singing that beautiful song, it's like, whether the water is rough or whether the water is peaceful, if we understand the metaphor of the water being God, whether it feels rough or peaceful, we are in God. And isn't that enough to remind us to seek the joy that is already within us? Isn't that enough to remind us that regardless of the challenges, circumstances, or difficulties, we can experience God, and God is joy. We can experience our truth, and we are joy, and therefore step more fully into it. And it's a choice that we have to make to live into joy. I believe we have the freedom on choosing how we can experience that joy. We can choose to try to find it in the world of appearances and in the more humane, in the life of humanity outside of us, right? That ego attachment to things, what we have, what we don't have, the possessions, the conditions that are in our life. Or we can not only choose to experience joy, but we can choose to experience joy from the spirit of what is within us, what does not change with external circumstances and is always alive in us. And the choice to me is clear, that in those moments when we have the ability to choose joy and to choose a different type of experience, what we're really doing is choosing to experience God. Choosing God. Choosing God in all of our affairs, choosing God within the challenges, and choosing God within the flows. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says, "The free, open mind thus stayed on God is certain to bring forth joy, real satisfaction in living, and true prosperity." The free mind thus stayed on God. And so how do we keep our focus, attention, and our choices on God rather than what seems so appealing, that is the external factors, the possessions, and the conditions that we have been conditioned to feel is where we can find our joy and happiness. In Atlas of the Heart, Brené Brown defines joy as an intense feeling of deep spiritual connection, pleasure, and appreciation. And I love that she quotes researcher Matthew Johnson, who says that when we experience joy, we don't lose ourselves, we become more truly ourselves. Isn't that amazing, right? Like this scientific researcher doing all this work is recognizing that our oneness with spirit brings about joy. And that the moment that we step into joy, it's not about letting go or not necessarily being connected to something that is happening in our lives, but it's actually just taking a step back and stepping more fully into the truth of our very being and become more of who we have come here to be and to have the life that we have come here to experience. How many of you have experienced this kind of deep joy? Yeah, I'm sure many of us have experienced deep joy. How many of us experience a sense of contentment with life? Listen, even if it's for a fleeting moment, can we celebrate it, right? Can we honor the fact that we have experienced it? Happiness about what is taking place within our lives. I've experienced that joy, and yet I have also experienced that which tends to haunt our joy. And Brené Brown talks to us about being mindful of two types of ways in which, when we are experiencing joy, something's lurking on the side, right? And she talks about foreboding joy, and she talks about feeling wrong. Foreboding joy, this joy won't last, right? Something's gonna happen. And feeling wronged, I could be really happy and joyful in this moment if they hadn't done that to me, if they hadn't shown up in that way. Little laughs here and there, but is that not what we have experienced from time to time? Now, both of these experiences, and that's the power of being mindful when we are being called into those experiences, or we see them lurking or feel them lurking behind us, it's an opportunity to be mindful about it and to also be mindful about what we can do about it. And it's the practice of gratitude. The practice of gratitude is what brings us back to that joy. It's what brings us back to the reality of the experience. Brené Brown, when she talks about foreboding joy, she talks about this idea that that feeling will just end, that it's almost like we don't feel like we deserve to experience that much joy. How many of you have been there, done that? It's like everything's going so great. Work is good, life is good, my relationships are good. Where's that shoe that's about to drop? Anybody ever wait for that shoe to drop? Yeah. And then when all of a sudden both shoes drop, you're like, well, there's probably a third and a fourth and a fifth one coming, right? In our Absolute Abundance course that started on Tuesday, we were actually talking a little bit about this in other terms. We're talking about this idea that when we are manifesting and creating, we feel like there's this honeymoon stage. And this idea that all things are going so great and so well, and there's this honeymoon stage. But let's talk about what we believe about the honeymoon stage. It's a stage. It never lasts, right? And a lot of couples are looking at, when's the honeymoon stage going to be over, right? Who told us that the honeymoon has to end? It's literally just a thought that we've had. And it's a thought that we've had that we've also connected to, if a challenge arises or a difficulty arises, it no longer is the honeymoon, it's the reality of the situation, right? Again, the challenge, the difficulty, we can also think and believe and trust that it is part of the honeymoon stage, that it is a part of our experience of God, that it's an experience that is bringing us actually closer together and bringing more of that love and joy to express within our lives. One of the things that Brené Brown uses to talk about foreboding joy is something that I feel very connected with, and many parents probably in this very room feel connected with. It's the idea of looking at our kids, right, and experiencing our kids. And sometimes we have these wonderful experiences, like when my son, Lucas, when we put him to bed at night, every so often, about 10 minutes later, sometimes he asks, oh, check in on me in 10 minutes. And so 10 minutes later, we go into the room, and most of the time, Lucas, you're asleep. And I've had many experiences where I stand next to his bed, and I'm just like, oh my God, this angelic face and this beautiful being, and I'm here witnessing this love, and I'm here just experiencing his greatness and everything that he is. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm in the middle of that joy, and then my next thought is, oh my God, he's growing so fast. Oh my God, when he's in high school, he's not going to ask me to check in on him. Oh my God, he's moving away. Oh my God, he's going to college. Oh my God, this moment is fleeting. And rather than experiencing the moment, I'm already missing it. I'm already thinking about the unhappiness I will feel when the moment is over. And that's not the reality of that moment. Paramahansa Yogananda says, the secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn for the past, worry about the future, or anticipables, but to live in the moment wisely and earnestly, each moment completely, and nature will take care of itself. Fully enjoy the one beauty of each moment. See, I was spiraling down in the bedroom when I was having all those thoughts, right? But just as easily as we spiral down, we can spiral up. We can evolve upward. And the practice that brings us to that place is gratitude. For me, is gratitude. And you've heard this from me before, like just even being able to take a breath kind of brings us to center. But actually, it's also been proven that taking a breath or a sigh actually tells not only the mind and the body, but it also tells the body that there's a reset happening. And so imagine in those moments where you are, or we are spiraling down, taking a breath, reset, and move into gratitude. My God, here I am with this precious being, watching him sleep and looking beautiful, angelic, and this is my experience in this moment. And leaving it at that, period. Now, it could also be that we can use the very, very deeply spiritual, life-transforming, evolutionary chant. Are you ready for this wisdom? I almost feel like I should put the thing back on. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Amazing. Don't worry, be happy. Who knew the deep spiritual meaning of such a phrase? Because we rob ourselves of our joy, and we allow ourselves to feel disconnected from that joy, not only with foreboding joy, but when all of a sudden we think that there is somebody or something that has wronged us. When we think that somebody outside of us or something outside of us is robbing us of our joy, who are we giving power to? And whose power is it to give away? It is ours. It's already within us. And so we can reclaim that power and recognize, regardless of what is happening outside of us, I can be in joy. I can remember that my whole spirit lives in the experience of God. And I believe that we can ask ourselves the question, I be more mindful about what's going on and invite gratitude in? So when we feel those feelings, even anger, hurt, disgust, contempt, self-righteousness, when somebody wrongs us, we can, recognize that it's just a thought, it's just a belief, and we can choose joy even in that experience. Today, I choose joy. Say it with me. Today, I choose joy. And see, one of the things that I love is that anger is an energy, and sometimes anger or hurt can be a catalyst. So I'm not saying that we don't necessarily have to shy away from feeling those feelings, but we don't have to live in them. We don't have to internalize them. We don't have to externalize them. We can use them as what prompts us to ask the question, What can I be grateful in this moment? How can I go back to joy in this moment? And it's amazing what could come up. I mean, even when I've been feeling angry, if I take a moment to ask myself the question, like, what is this bringing up in me? And what I can be grateful for, I can be like, I'm actually grateful for this anger. I'm grateful for this anger because it moves me to do something. Anger sometimes is a catalyst to ask right questions, to do right work. I'm grateful for the anger because it reminds me that healing needs to take place. I'm grateful for the anger because it reminds me to seek God first and not put all of my all of the eggs into that one experience, but actually take the power and the experience back. Because remember, where energy and attention are directed, experience takes place. Where we direct our energy and attention, that is what we'll get. And so are we focusing on external, or are we focusing on the reality of who we are, the deep joy that is within us? Are we focusing on that which we have said is keeping us or taking us from our joy? Or can we refocus ourselves to the joy, period, the God, period, of our being? And again, maybe it's just a matter of going into that deeply spiritual, life-transforming, evolutionary chant. Don't worry, be happy. Now, I've been joking around a little bit about how deeply spiritual and evolutionary that chant is, but actually, the story behind it, many of you, when you hear Don't Worry, Be Happy, probably think of the Bobby McFerrin song. But the birth of that song is when Bobby McFerrin was at a friend's house and saw a poster on it in one of the walls. And the poster said, "Don't worry, be happy," because it was what the mystical avatar and teacher, Beba Mahar, would actually cable to his followers in the West. And it would actually always, every time that he ended some message or spiritual teaching to his followers in the West, it would end with, "Don't worry, be happy." And Meher Baba was someone who was in silence for 44 years of his life. For some of those years, he actually would speak using a chalkboard. Then he started just using hand signals until he finally just went completely silent and wasn't communicating. Before he did that, though, they asked him why he was going into silence. And he said, or he wrote, "You have asked for and been given of words. Now time to live them." It is now time for us to live in deep joy. It is now time for us to live in gratitude. It is now time for us to truly experience happiness. It is now time for us to truly live the life that we are meant to live. And we do that moment by moment, choice by choice. And today and every moment, we can say to ourselves, "Today, I choose joy." Say it with me. Today, I choose joy. And it is done. Namaste.